12 hours of planes, trains and automobiles. I'm pooped. I finally step out of Shinjuku Station and I'm just in awe of my surroundings. Everything here is just coated in pure magic and there's no other way of describing it. At 165 beats per minute comes my official welcome to Japan and its music. This here is STDrums. He's an incredible world-travelling, street-performing jungle and drum and bass drummer. A crowd is forming and people are dancing. I left to find a 7-Eleven, bought a can of Suntory and drank it while watching the rest of his set. I went to say hi when he was packing up. Really cool dude. His name is Yuri. I bought his EP and asked him if he has any gigs coming up. Says he's got one on at 7th floor in Shibuya on Friday. I shook his hand and told him I'd see him on Friday and left to find my hotel. I accidentally stumbled into the Golden Guy, which is a block full of about 300 tiny little bars. The bars were just starting to open, it was about to rain and there were very few people around. I walked into a bar and was confronted by this absolute legend. He had a sign around his neck saying, "Buy me a drink, please." And he was playing this gnarly noise music, which turned out to be his own band, Salmon Space. I got out my wallet and he saw the picture of the kangaroo on it. He got excited and yelled out, "Kangaroo!" and reached behind the bar and pulled out a plushy long cat doll and started bouncing it along the counter like it was some kind of kangaroo. I burst out laughing, I couldn't believe it. And I bought him a drink like the sign said. What else could I do? The doll had its throat cut and I asked him what happened. He said he killed himself. I asked how. He said, with a knife. I asked why. And he just said, identity crisis. Okay then. I hung around for a bit chatting about music and I showed him some Australian stuff and some of my own music. He'd show me some more of his music and some Japanese bands that he was really into. I asked him if there were any good live houses nearby and he said 9 Spices in Shinjuku. I stuck around a bit waiting for the rain to clear and then I headed to 9 Spices. Down a flight of stairs to a basement music bar with a small CD shop for local artists next to the ticket counter. In Japan, your ticket always comes with a drink token, and if you buy in advance, it's 500 yen cheaper. The lineup for the show is SADCHELSEA, Water Maze, and Regie Pearl from America. I walked in halfway through SADCHELSEA's set. Up next were Water Maze. This band mixed together everything good about 90s grunge and rock music. The level of musicianship here was a cut above what I'm used to seeing back home. There was only about 10 people in the room, but with the performance they were giving, there might as well have been hundreds. Sadly, I only captured this very short clip. Up next, the opposite of what I was expecting, but in a good way, Regie Pearl.
Fortune, if it's mystic, I can handle it. I could float in your eyes. I could dance on your skin, and it's no damn surprise.
A welcome shift in gears, really beautiful stuff. She usually plays with a full band, but this time it's just these two. I'm glad I saw it in this format, I actually prefer this. The Cat Gathering at Adam Live Garage in Toshima, featuring Ainnakana, Alaiyakasico, and KURONEKO ZAIBATSU. Down a flight of stairs, past a pretty sweet looking restaurant, there's a ticket counter with a security monitor for the whole venue. I paid my 3,500 yen and entered through the soundproof doors. I made a beeline for the bar to spend my drink token. Looking to my left, I noticed some artist cooking up a wicked painting that's starting to take shape. This artist is Monochrome haiji, and throughout the night, he will be painting this scene featuring all the bands playing tonight. I just missed Ainnakana, but Alaiyakasico are tuning up and getting their levels right, and the mood in the venue was pretty sweet. Alaiyakasico, am I saying that right? They were bloody sick. I got a friend back home who's a massive fan of them, but this is the first time I've heard their music. I know their singer has a bit of a reputation online, but that reputation is wrong. Nashimoto is an incredibly talented musician and an incredible front person for a band, very charismatic on stage, and also just a really nice guy. The between-song banter between band members was on point, and everyone was pissing themselves laughing. I, of course, had no idea what they were saying, but to me it sounded filthy. In the gap between bands, I got talking to the two members of Ainnakana by the merch table. They were really cool. I'm bummed I missed their set. I bought their CD, and they were trying to get me to actually buy their new album, but their old album was cheaper, so I bought that. Up next, the headliner, KURONEKO ZAIBATSU. Sort of a rocky J-pop band, I guess you'd call them, fronted by the singer Miki Murahashi. She has this really wicked voice. It sort of cracks up at just the right point, so it's not yelly, but it just breaks in this really cool sounding way. Yeah, she's like a really killer front person as well. She's roaming around the stage, she's getting people to sing and wave along in time with the music. At one point she even wanted everyone to do a conga line, which was funny because she axed herself on stage trying to demonstrate and tripped over. And then she climbed out into the audience and everyone did a conga line and it was real fun. This guitarist is an absolute gun and he's a show pony of the highest order, and every now and then they coordinate dance moves for a bit of funny back and forth. Apart from their music being really good and their performance just being top shelf, their vibe is just overwhelmingly happy and positive and fun and friendly and welcoming and just plain nice. And this was the general vibe from the Cat Gathering, not just from the bands, but also sort of from the audience too. By the end of the set, Monochrome haiji had finished his painting, and everyone got down on the ground so the band could see his completed work. Then all the members from all the bands got up on stage, Haji brought up his painting and presented it to Mike, and everyone did a bow. A very sweet end to a very sweet show. I made my way out to Asagaya to see Mitsuru Tabata and Loui Yoshigaki. While looking for the venue, I got a lot of double takes. I get the impression this place doesn't see a lot of tourists, and maybe this is what your average spot in Tokyo actually looks like without all the craziness of Shinjuku or Shibuya. Up a flight of stairs to a small and well-hidden bar called Tabasa. There are about 6 people in the room, including performers. On entry I got the "you ain't from around here boy" look, and Mitsuru Tabata even asked what I was doing there and how I even found out about the show. This guy was in the Boredoms and Acid Mother's Temple, and he seems completely unaware about their international notoriety. But anyway, he's on first, and here's a clip from his show. It was him solo on stage with a loop station and a few pedals. He built this lovely, swelling wall of guitar melodies and textures, but not enough for it to be total noise. Really beautiful stuff. Loui Yoshigaki is on next. This guy was more about the noise. He was doing cool stuff like playing guitar with a bow and putting a metal bowl full of water on top of the strings just above the pickups to create some really cool sounds. Really interesting and creative stuff. It made me want to go home and make music, but the flight is in 10 days, so... I left the gig to grab some dinner, then caught the train down to Shibuya. Just outside the station I watched this lady play some really nice songs. Yeah, not bad at all. Had a little bit of time to kill before Yuri set at 7th floor, so I just grabbed a can of Suntory and wandered around like a tourist, gawking at things and stumbling around. I arrived at 7th floor halfway through the set of guitarist Satoshi Fukunaga. He's in the band Yobi Suspects, and this is some really terrible footage that I managed to capture. Yeah, nice. DJ Bambi, Satoshi and ST Drums all took to the floor. They jammed out this wicked set for about an hour. This was mind-blowingly good, easily the best show I saw in Japan. When the whole thing was over, I had a beer with Yuri. I told him that this was easily the sickest thing I've seen in a while. Why were there only 5 people watching? He told me that life was getting harder in Japan, and the average person doesn't really have 3,000 yen to spend on music every few weeks. The city is so vast and there's so many options for entertainment on any given night. Even without a recession, it's easy to see why attendance would be down. Either way, that show was absolutely sick. STDrums is on tour across Japan at the moment. Check out his socials for details. I couldn't find any gigs online, so I just went back to Adam to see what was up there. The door cover was 4,500 yen and the show was almost over, so I just didn't go in. Word of warning, gigs in Japan start and finish early. Even on a Saturday night, it might be done and dusted by 9, so keep an eye on set times. I schlepped it back to Shinjuku, grabbed some booze from 7-Eleven and just started walking around and drinking, thinking eventually I'd find something to do. I followed the sound of a drum kit down a flight of stairs to a basement music bar. Lady at the bar says it's 2,500 yen. I paid up, spent my drink token and caught the last half an hour of this beautiful, heavenly music.
Dear superstar, oh Jesus. Dear superstar, oh Jesus, 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 Jesus。涙は狂気に変わり、やがて理性は道化に変わる。それが演じるでも歌うことでもどちらのものでも構わない。東京タワーのてっぺんにケツの穴を刺してる夢を見る。電気椅子にかけられ泣きじゃくる 自分の姿を夢に見る自由平等貧困疫病絶望無知存在愛憎 Be a superstar Be a superstar Oh Jesus Be a superstar Be a superstar Oh Jesus 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 明日は来ない Jesus 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 全てを消え去れ Jesus 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 蜃気楼に愛を Jesus 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 無駄な守る アンコールアンコール
Yeah, this is absolutely lush. I couldn't find any information about these guys online. I know they're called Shishimo, but that's about it. There's also a J-pop band with the same name, so it's definitely not them. Yeah, I got talking to the singer after the show, and he was a total legend. Meteor Night. Hell yeah. 3 stages, 2 venues, 35 bands. Completely awesome. These are my highlights. Takakura Ken. Penisboys. Hell yeah, easily one of my favourites for the day. When they'd finished their set, the bass player sat down on stage, drenched in sweat, shirtless, struggling to catch his breath. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling in a world of pain and exhaustion, screaming and gasping for air as his band packed up around him. Clearly, he made no effort to conserve energy, and he pushed through and completely ignored his physical limits to deliver a top-shelf performance. Hats off to you, mate. Good on you. Glands. Glands played slow-building, post-rocky, long-form instrumental music, brilliantly textured and subtle, building in intensity to beautiful crescendos before stripping it back for a few bars and violently kicking back in for explosive yet unexpected payoffs. Sometimes they'd even drift into hardcore territory. Excellent musicianship here. The whole set was one piece of music. Brilliant stuff. Bokuno. Am I saying that right? This is the intersection between DJing, slapstick comedy, and juice making. This was a good time.
Yeah!
Limited Express has gone. These guys are taking home the title for Best in Show. vocalist was an absolute bloody force of nature. She was running around and jumping on railings and amplifiers, screaming her guts out and revving up the audience. Charging out into the audience, doing kneeling power slides, rolling around on the ground, crowd surfing, swinging from the rafters, and anything else that would support her weight. Going off like an absolute frog in a sock. Completely lost in the performance. She even ran down to the other end of the venue and took to the stage while the next band was setting up. This whole time using a corded microphone from the other end of the venue. People were holding up the cables so no one would get snagged or tangled. You just couldn't take your eyes off her. Looking back at the band, same energy. 4 powerhouse musicians rocking out and having a good time. I'm only here for 12 days. I think it's time to get out of Tokyo and see the rest of the country. What? This right here is clitoral squirrel. So this guy in this t-shirt shop told me about this live house called Himitsu. So I just walked around the corner and now I'm watching this man in his undies yelling stuff I don't understand. This is apparently a rare privilege. Clitoral squirrel rarely even plays these days and has a cult following nationally. People came from all over for this gig. The guy next to me even came down from Osaka. His undies have this little synth built into it, and occasionally he'd fondle the knobs for some soloing. So funny lyrics are the main selling point of his music, but I only have like 45 Japanese words in my vocab, so most of it was just lost on me. Alright, time's up. Better head back to Tokyo for one last gig and then fly home. Wish I knew there was an airport in Fukuoka. And we're back to my favourite venue, ADM Lifehouse, for another one of these all-day festivals that they have here. And here are my highlights. Rine. walked in halfway through their set. Good energy for these guys, a lot of fun. Keちゃんのいちばんおうた楽団 from Himitsu no Miyoka. Cool stage costumes and a really intense singer. High energy pop rock. The singer had crazy eyes. Just a really killer performance from these guys. Mononoke no Namo. Hey, if you're looking for more proof that Nashimoto absolutely kicks ass, you found it. Quartzie. One of my favorites for the day, a mixture of funk, rock and fast-paced rap vocals. These guys even have a song about how awesome ADM Music Garage is, and I agree, it is awesome. The bass player has a master's degree in hogging the spotlight. Very entertaining. Here's a top quality skate punk band. If you know who they are, let me know.
なんですけど、みんなが一緒に平等にいけるように、知らん人も知ってる人もなんか徐々にじわっとこう混ざり合って、まあそんなこと言えるような人気バンドではないですけども、一つよろしくお願いします。新曲再出発。
This here is kaijupickles. Best in show for me personally goes to WTB, which stands for Who the Bitch. I was too busy enjoying their show to take any footage. It was just like too good and I just didn't want to look at my phone. WTB are a solid, no bullshit punk rock band and they have 20 years experience playing together. And their audience is really fun too, and they had absolutely no problem crowd surfing me against my will. After the show, the band was upstairs handing out flyers and stickers and saying hi to everyone. What a good bunch of people.
Alright, so there you have it. That was my experience with Japanese live music. I think if you're a gig pig, if you're an absolute sucker for live music like myself, I reckon you'll have a great time in Japan, especially Tokyo. Not many tourists and foreigners actually go to this stuff. And a lot of what I saw is actually very obscure music, very cult-like bands and figures and stuff like that. But I think it's worth a look. None of this appears in travel guides or videos by Chris Broad or general Japanese online content aimed at potential tourists, but it is one of the coolest things about the country. The level of musicianship and showmanship, especially showmanship, is a cut above what I'm used to seeing back home. I've seen bands back home look like they're too cool to even be remotely entertaining. Don't even smile on stage, man. I've seen so much of that in Melbourne. But in Japan, shit-eating grins, ear to ear on every band giving it their all, their absolute all, very theatrical, lots on around and round up the crowd, it's generally creating a fun atmosphere. And I just felt respected as an audience member. Okay, so just say you're taking my advice and going to Japan and seeing some music. How do you find out about this stuff when it's hidden behind a language barrier? Well, I guess the simplest place to start is by getting on your phone, launching up Google and typing in live house near me, and in Tokyo, in larger towns, it'll show you a bunch of stuff nearby. And just go there, rock up and see what's happening. That's a good way to do it. Another good way is just talking to people. People in bars and shops, and buskers and things like that. They'll always know. A lot of bartenders are musicians themselves, but just don't annoy people when they're minding their own business or busy or whatever. There's this website called Gigs in Tokyo. It's an okay place to start. It's definitely not even remotely comprehensive, but it is a good resource for sure. Similarly, Bands in Town and Songkick, these are good places to start too, but also not even remotely comprehensive. If you know where to look various bands and venues' social media, those will be able to help you out. And if all that fails, which it may sometimes, you can just go for a walk in a place like Shinjuku, like a party district, that kind of place, and listen out for the sounds of drum kits and DJs and whatever else might tickle your eardrums, and just follow it to its source and see where that gets you. Some things to be wary of before you get to it though. The soundproof doors, you gotta lift the handle instead of pull it. Don't look like a dummy, like I did. The start times, you gotta watch out for those as well. Things sometimes even start as early as 5 p.m, and everything's usually done and dusted by 10 p.m. The venue websites will usually say the set times, so pay attention to that. If you're like me and like a cheeky old mosh, the pit etiquette is slightly different in Japan. I'd say if in doubt, just look around you and see what everyone else is doing. But generally speaking, people mosh and go hard and have a good time, but people respect each other's space a little differently and don't really sort of ram into each other. And there's definitely no crowd killing or any of that dumb bull crap. At least not that I noticed. Yeah, so just remember you are a guest there, and I'd say that's definitely the worst way you can go against the grain. These places aren't really frequented by foreigners. I think I saw maybe 4 other Westerners the entire time I went to these gigs. So last thing you want to do is rock up and make us all look stupid. Which brings me on to my next point. You may get the odd inquisitive stare, the odd you ain't from around here boy kind of look. It's there, right, to give you that weird look for sure. You are a guest, like I said before. It's definitely nothing to worry about. It's no sort of threat. But when you do enter these spaces, you are a representative of all foreigners. So just keep that in mind and have a good time.